Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Will Rich here. Hopefully, you're having a good one. In this one, we're going to go over BigBear.AI stock. Now, in the process, this morning, we ended up buying TSSI, a data center company, right after this big dip at market open here at 885. We waited and waited and waited at market open till entering down here at 885. And we're still holding it, about 300 shares for a $35 profit this morning. And things are looking green. Bitcoin's in the red a little bit. Portfolio's green as we have some other companies doing well. AMD is up today. And also, if you ever want to tune into those daily live trading sessions, it's the second link in the description down below. So let's get into it. What you can see here is we have AI defense companies. BigBear.AI is down today about 4.3% after a very nice recovery yesterday. We saw it surge to about $7 a share, which we've been watching that level very closely over the last few weeks. It's been on a consistent uptrend over the last year. If you take a look back, BigBear.AI has been surging from that $1 price point up into higher highs and finding higher support levels around, in this case, $5 a share. And we were watching it this morning. We're really looking for this break above 650 yesterday, about a 15% gain. We did see that take place, and we started to see it break out today as it went from consolidating left to right throughout the entire month of November to actually breaking back into the $7 range and looking to use this $6.50 level as a support now. And so good to see that 16% move play out. You do see it selling down a little bit at the moment on the near term, kind of in a few red candlesticks over the last hour, 2 hours here, as it's approaching down to that 650 level. Now, this is really important. This 650 level is a key resistance level we saw back here earlier this year for quite some time. And that's all good to see that they are approaching that level and they can continue up. But there's a lot of things that also are driving them in the continued direction. As we were watching this level, the next level from 650 up to where they're targeting, maybe you got that 750 next, it's about a 10% increase, but then you got that $8 range, which is a 20 to 30% increase, and then continuing up into the $10 range, we're talking over 50% gain potential on BigBear.AI. Now, as they're holding above 650, while you may think that it's just going to continue this trend perfectly, maybe you don't think that, but there are some factors you should probably be looking at right now. In the short term, there's extra volatility. We see them potentially hold the 650 range. That's the next level of support to watch. But if you're in a short-term trade or you're potentially entering that short-term trade, just watch that 650 level very closely. And we'd be looking for, again, that next trend up to 750 to 850 for the shorter term swing trade potential and trading opportunity. But in the longer term, we have some long-term positions that are in BigBear.AI that we've been holding since around $2.80 a share back in December of last year, or maybe it was November, but yeah, right around this time last year is when we got in. And since then, obviously it's about 3x'd from there, or 2x'd, over 2x'd. And I'm holding long term. We might even see a conservative sell down back into 550 on the way there. Right now, it's looking like it's continuing the uptrend, but the longer term trends are the macro movements that are taking place in the company. This morning we had our daily live trading, and one of the quotes we read was this quote that's from Henry David Thoreau. It says, "I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his or her dreams and endeavors to live the life which he imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." Now, what does that have to do with this? Well, when you're a long-term investor, you might be holding, you might see a direction of a company, but it could take a long time for that to materialize. And so what I mean is, at the moments when, things might be feeling like they're taking a long time, in a very short amount of time, that stock, that investment could reach up to those levels that you expect. So don't be surprised as well if we see BigBear price up to this $8.50 or continue this uptrend that they've been building over the last year and continue up into that maybe $10 range, which would be a 60% gain or more. And just don't be surprised if that happens. We've seen it happen multiple times really about 3 or 4 times to be exact over the last year. And when it runs pretty quick. What are the macro trends that are pushing the stock, and why do we see that happen? If you have a company that's gearing up for a big event, maybe, it's higher risk, maybe they're able to capitalize on that. And then if they're able to capitalize on it, what does that look like? Well, the big event for Big Bear right now is this is what they talked about on LinkedIn, the approaching 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympics. Now, they came out with this article about 4 months ago talking about how there's going to be more people coming and traveling into the United States in and out of the US. And as a result, they'll want to track and monitor the people that come in and out. And so they're gearing up to capitalize on these big events coming up this next year and into 2028. Are they in the position to turn that into something big? I think so. There's really three indicators that I'm looking at that are seeming to point towards the direction that currently, right now, they are building the infrastructure to make that happen. The first is going to be that they've been raising a lot of capital. They've raised a lot more capital, balance sheets up to nearly $1 billion. Their total assets have gone up 159% year over year, and their revenue is kind of held flat, right? It's not gaining. We haven't seen any big increases, but their total assets are gearing up. So there's the financial side where you see them gain some more assets, increase their total equity, and get to the point where, okay, when they have the chance to deploy more technologies, they're able to do that. Now, the second key here is that they're not just a company that's maybe deploying technology. They're not just a company that's maybe getting some, in the future, they can deploy this capital to then be able to capitalize on it. Right now, if you look at BigBear.AI, it has been the story that they've really deployed their VeriScan technology. And if you look at the news directly from the source of this company, the AI company has focused very closely on building out their network of the AI facial scanners at the airports. And so they've recently, in this last year, tremendously doubled down on their deployments. You can see some of the news is coming out that you got, partnership with the Department of Defense, partnership with Palantir. But then if you kind of take a closer look at some of the recent deployments, and we look at their biometric deployments at the international airports, they've gotten into JFK, Charlotte, Chicago, Dallas. They've gotten into Los Angeles, so LAX, along with Montreal, Port of Seattle, and then since then into Nashville, and some other large airports, including Heathrow. But these are the largest airports in the world, and they're getting into them all throughout the United States with their VeriScan technology. Now, their VeriScan technology, it looks like this, and I get DMs from you guys all the time on Instagram when you're traveling, so keep sending me those, because there's actually, it's funny, we discover the companies' deployments where they're at in the airports before they even release it on their news, because I'll get some messages on Instagram of people that are saying like, hey, I just went through this airport. I remember before they came out with that article, someone was like, yeah, I just went through LAX and I saw it. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I live near, not LAX, I'm in Northern California, but I thought, I'm flying through there soon, I'll check out. And they sent me some photos. I said, oh, it's legit. And then about a week later, BigBear.AI came out with the article, and they say, hey, we're releasing this VeriScan technology into LAX. And so if you ever see the technology while you're traveling, just send me an Instagram DM or something, or if you're in StockMate or in daily live trading over there in the community, you can send me a message. I'll definitely see it. But as you can see, you got this VeriScan technology for AI real-time processing to identify where people are coming from, where they're going, what their intentions are with their travel, maybe even who they're traveling with, what the patterns of those travels are. That a TSA agent, let's be real, you're not going to go through all of that analysis every time that you're having someone come in and out of the airports. It's just extremely repetitive, and it's something AI could do, and that's where they've deployed not just at the airports, but in the gates with the individual companies. And so that's number two, is the deployment. Number three of why they are deploying, or why they are seeing some good growth, and this is actually ties really well into some of the fundamental analysis that I've seen over in the Prophecy app. When we pull up, we were just doing TSSI because we were trading them this morning, as I mentioned. Which, how is that doing, by the way? Before I get into this big bear number three, how is it doing over on TSSI? Let's see that position. Is it doing okay? Or TSSI, let's see. Oh, still holding, still holding. Things are okay. So as you can see on Prophecy, for example, if you pull up Big Bear, the fundamentals are really anticipating that they could get contracts based on all of the data that they collect from the millions of people that are going in. And we've already seen that happen with the Department of Defense, with the Pentagon, with the Army, as they've gotten some contracts there. But they also, when they're doing that, they have this focus on the consumer data, but also the data that is, they have to organize it in a way that's responsible, in a way that has integrity. And I think that's why, rather than having their own models and kind of like wrapping their own AI models, they recently acquired that company called Ask Sage that already has government contracts or already works with the government, and they acquired them recently. And that's really just it. That put them in a position for capitalizing on the data they're collecting. And so that's why you see some of the projections. According to Grok, for example, you got a 65% potential increase above that $10 range. Claude and OpenAI is similar, 4% over the next month for OpenAI. You see a 15% projection for Claude over the next month. And this is just getting started with the company's development, but also higher risk, because let's see how the contracts come in. Currently, revenue's still down, cash is up big, and the deployments in technology seems promising. So those are the three things. Those are the top movements that are going into the growth of BigBear.AI. Nearest support level, you got 650 that it's anticipating over here, according to Prophecy, the Prophecy app. If you ever want to tune on into our daily live trading sessions in StockMate and learn how to trade quantum, defense, AI, and tech stocks, it's going to be the second link in the description to join our daily live trading. Would love to see you there at Market Open on Monday. And if you're ready to get on the first access list for the Prophecy app, it's the first link down below. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.